So when we look at all these dimensions, crypto art and platform-based power, non-fungible token revolution, the merge with VR, collaborative crypto art and the tokenized collective artwork, all these dimensions, which we'll be seeing in greater detail, are connected to each other. They reinforce each other, and they are linked to the impact of FinTech in the art world. And this impact is not only on the side of the art market, it's also having an impact on artistic expression and the means and the different ways for artistic expression and styles. Let's see this. Let's start with the merge with VR, which already exposes this point. So CryptoVoxels. CryptoVoxels is a virtual reality. It's a virtual world. So we have a virtual world, which is based on a three-dimensional immersion in VR, virtual reality, with multimedia interaction, including image, sound, GIFs, and video. It is community owned. The main point about CryptoVoxels is that it runs on the Ethereum blockchain. So if we go to the CryptoVoxels website, let me just place here the web address. Okay, opening the website so that I can show. So where's the web address? CryptoVoxels. Okay. So here we are. So CryptoVoxels, as you can see here, is a virtual world powered by the Ethereum blockchain, and players can buy land. So there's a gamification side to this also. Players can buy land, build stores and art galleries. Editing tools, avatars, and text chat are built in. So there's a map for the world, and we can click on the map, which contains various places for this artificial world. There are we can buy land, and we can visit different places in this virtual world. And the main point here, and returning now to the slides, the main point is that there's the different art galleries, for instance, that are in CryptoVoxels, can include, for instance, the pieces, the artworks that are exposed on the walls of this virtual world, and you can interact with them. And interacting with them, for instance, if you click on one of these pieces, on one of these works, there may be the author information on who authored that work, so the creator, the artist, and also a link to an external website, which is an online market where you can buy that piece, you can buy that artwork, paying with cryptocurrency. So many galleries have this infrastructure, this framework implemented, where you can look at the digital artwork, and you can click on it. Sometimes the work may be a still picture of the digital work, but when you click on it, it can become, for instance, a GIF, and you can buy GIFs online. It can be a video, for instance. Some music groups operate here also in CryptoVoxels artificial world. and they have a gallery where you can click on their videos. Their videos are exposed on the wall, and you click and you activate the video, and you can play the video. So there is sound, there is image, there is video, there are GIFs here, and also still the still pictures of the digital artworks. But the main issue here is that there is a strong hypertextual integration where the places coordinates can be addressed as web addresses. And you have here, for instance, this is a picture of the virtual of this virtual world of CryptoVoxels, and the locations are themselves web addresses. So you have the main page for CryptoVoxels, but different coordinates, different places have different coordinates that can be accessed as web addresses. And you go to those places and you can explore those places as an anonymous user, or even as one of the, or as an avatar, if you create an avatar. But the main issue here, which is an interesting point, is that there are various dimensions here regarding CryptoVoxels impact on art. First, the obvious economic and financial dimension, which is the integration with FinTech. So CryptoVoxels is supported by the Ethereum blockchain, and the CryptoVoxels, and you can use it to advertise your art. Different artists can use it, or galleries, or even art museums can use it for advertising. But you can use it also to link to a digital, to the World Wide Web. This is that hypertextual integration, where if you click on an image and you like that work, there is a link to an external website, and you click on that button that takes you to an external website, which is an online marketplace. And there are various online marketplaces here for where you can go from CryptoVoxels to those online platforms, online marketplaces, where you can buy and sell art. So this creates, and you can buy and sell art in exchange for cryptocurrency. So these, we now have an ecosystem of platforms online, various online websites where you can buy and sell art, paying with cryptocurrency or receiving cryptocurrency for those art pieces. At the same time, but the CryptoVoxels makes this connection with this ecosystem, where you're immersed in a virtual world, you interact with that virtual world, and interacting with the pieces that are exposed on the walls of different galleries in this virtual world, you can access these external websites and this ecosystem of marketplaces, online marketplaces for different cryptocurrencies, not only the Ethereum cryptocurrency, but also other types of cryptocurrencies and different online platforms. So this is the market level and the revolution within the art market. So CryptoVoxels can be used for a deep immersive interaction with art, and you can use it to advertise your art. You can use it to link to online marketplaces. So there's this economic integration with the art market, with the online art market, and crypto art market, in the sense that you can use cryptocurrency to buy digital pieces, to sell these pieces. So this is one point, the economic dimension. The FinTech dimension, or the financial dimension, which is linked to financial technologies. This FinTech dimension is that we now have all these online structures and the virtual reality based link to these ecosystems of marketplaces where that are powered by the fintech revolution, that are enabled, better term, that are enabled by this fintech revolution, which is linked to cryptocurrency and to the blockchain technology. So this is the side on the financial at the financial level, and we have online auctions for different artworks that this is the base core revolution which we are addressing, which is the rise of crypto art, supported by the fintech revolution, by the blockchain revolution. The other side of all this is linked to artistic expression. So these fintech platforms, the fintech revolution and the impact on the art world and the art markets is not only regards the selling of art and the buying and selling of art. It's also linked to another level, which is it's fostering innovation at the level of artistic expression, and we see this in CryptoVoxels. While it is deeply the deep root of CryptoVoxels is this link to the World Wide Web of art markets, and there's this economic and financial dimension and fintech infrastructure that supports CryptoVoxels project. At the same time, we have the ability to provide an immersive contact with art that is based on virtual reality immersion and the intermixture of different ways to interact with art in a digital environment, including multimedia convergence, where you can click on a digital artwork and it activates that artwork and may change the behavior of that artwork. For instance, a still picture can become a GIF, or there's sound here, there's video, and so on. So this is this intermixture for a full experiencing of art in these various dimensions is being enabled by this new fintech revolution within the art world. So it's not just the economic side, the financial side, and the art market enabling. It's also an innovation enabler, and this is strongly linked to the blockchain revolution. So we have here CryptoVoxels. This is one of the art galleries where you have multimedia and virtual reality fusion powered by Ethereum. You have this fusion between multimedia and virtual reality, allowing for an immersive interaction with digital art. 3D immersive interaction with digital art. You even have digital sculptures here in CryptoVoxels, and you can enter into a sculpture and experience that sculpture from within. So you have the experience of looking at the sculpture from outside the sculpture, and you can enter the sculpture itself, and you have another experience of an architecture within the sculpture. So these layers of interaction, this is just now beginning this revolution, but we have here the basis for fourth industrial revolution is an enabler not only of new digital online art markets, but also is an enabler of innovation in how we interact with art. And this leads to this multimedia and virtual reality fusion is one of the main issues. So when we look at the fourth industrial revolution, we have the cyber physical systems and even cognitive, cyber physical cognitive also revolution with the AI, machine learning, and the Internet of Things. But the cyber physical point here is fundamental. That is the Internet of Things, the internet, the connected devices, all that which characterizes the fourth industrial revolution, allows for a more personal and more frequent interaction with virtual reality, augmented reality, and the mixed reality development. So this technological the side of the technological revolution associated with the fourth industrial revolution is an important point, because we'll tend to the existence of new a boom in a digital art market will also lead to innovation in the interface with art. And that interface with art can come with augmented reality, mixed reality, virtual reality. For instance, what about street art with augmented reality, where you can use your cell phone and look at the street art, and the street art, suddenly the piece becomes a GIF, for instance, or electronic components start to interact with what you see in that physical piece. You have that artwork, that physical artwork, which is on a wall, on a physical wall. But if you use your cell phone, you can look at it and have an augmented reality experience, where there's a digital layer superimposed and visually interacting with that physical piece. So that's another side of the digital linked to a technological interface enabled by augmented reality. Virtual reality here with CryptoVoxels, and we have here an integration with Internet of Things, with an hypertextual relation with digital art, which CryptoVoxels exemplifies very well. You click on a digital work, a work of art that is there, and you in the digital world, in the virtual world, and you click on it, and you click on a website, and there's a button to click on to link, and that takes you to an external website, which is an online market platform. So this is a hypertext integration, cyberspace. You have a virtual world that is linked in web, that is linked to the cyberspace, where each place is itself its location in that virtual reality based world. Each place, its location is itself a web address. So this, you have here this integration with hypertext. The other side is holographic telepresence, and the holographic technologies that are now starting to develop. So holographic technologies, when they reach a certain maturity level, you can have holographic sculptures, for instance. So and we can see that the blockchain can be an accelerator of all these new art forms and all this new digital integration, digitization of art, and of a new type of interface with art that mixes the different media. You have a multimedia experience. For instance, instead of just looking at the picture, you can then interact with that picture, and that picture changes behavior depending on who's interacting with the picture. And you can have even AI, the cognitive revolution, the artificial cognitive revolution of AI, integrated with that system, where you have a digital piece online in a virtual reality, for instance, environment, and you interact with that piece, and that picture, which was a still picture, and you looked at it, okay, and then you click on it, and then it changes behavior depending on how you interact with it, and it becomes motion, and it starts to move, it starts to make sounds, for instance, and that this is the multimedia convergence and the multimedia a multimedia experience and multimedia interaction with art. So and crypto art, fintech is a great enabler of this. Now let's look at the other side, which is non-fungible token revolution, which is linked to all this, to the digital art, to an economic boom, a market boom for digital art. Although the blockchain was initially devised to support fungible assets like the Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies, so those are fungible, it's this blockchain revolution that is now working as an enabler for the art market. And here any type of artwork can be supported by this NFT revolution, non-fungible token. So what are non-fungible tokens? We have here the blockchain has enabled users to create a new type of crypto asset. So a non-fungible crypto asset. And what this means is that the blockchain that supports cryptocurrency can also support another type of crypto asset, and this is a fintech innovation. This is a financial technology innovation, where the fact that it is non-fungible means that it is provably unique. So you create a digital uniqueness, and this is a revolution in terms of on the economic side, and we'll address this soon enough. So the Ethereum blockchain is the basis for most of the currently offered non-fungible tokens, and it enables NFT creators to capture information of relevance to their digital artifacts and store it as tokens on the blockchain. So those digital artifacts, so you can store on the blockchain, and this is an important point, and it speaks to one of the most recent analysis regarding the digital revolution and the fourth industrial revolution. There's this point regarding the fourth industrial revolution, which is the free economy. What does this mean? Digital assets can be easily copied. So you have this digital abundance. You can freely copy a digital asset. You can freely download and copy computer code, for instance. If you have open source coding, you can easily do that. You can easily copy a picture and download it, modify it, and so on. So there's this issue of as the digitization of an economy would lead also to digital abundance, an abundance of digital assets that are freely copyable. So if there's this digital abundance of free digital assets, of free digital objects, so to speak, then you have here an issue that regards regards all this, which is this digital abundance creates a problem for the monetization of digital assets. So how can you create a market without scarcity? And our economies are strongly linked, and the market is strongly linked in terms of value to the issue of managing scarce resources, for instance, and scarcity is an important source for value. But if we have a digital abundance where digital assets can be bought, can be downloaded, and it can be freely distributed. Even if you try to monetize it, it's always possible to copy it and to distribute it and freely. So the issue here is how to monetize something that is digital, that is linked to this digital abundance. Now, the NFT revolution is indeed a revolution because it changes the things regarding this digital abundance. And it changes things regarding this digital abundance on one specific point. It creates scarcity for digital assets. So it's a source of scarcity for digital assets. It makes one asset unique. And this is the non-fungible tokens. Essentially, NFTs are like physical collector's items, only digital. So instead of getting an actual oil painting to hang on the wall, the buyer gets a digital file instead. And this applies not only to art. For the art side, this is fundamental because there's this long-term piracy problem regarding art, especially with the digitization, and this creates a uniqueness to digital art. And you can auction digital art with which is linked to an NFT. So each NFT is a unique digital asset that can have at most one holder, corresponds to a unique digital asset that can have at most one holder at a time. So this creates the possibility of buying a unique piece, digital piece, a unique artwork. The Ethereum blockchain is the main blockchain for the NFTs, so they are blockchain-supported digital assets that are minted from digital objects that can include artworks, gifts, videos, collectibles, music, virtual avatars, and even tweets. You can sell a tweet, and there's this example of Jack Dorsey, who sold his first tweet for more than $2.9 million. So this is one issue. And the NFT, and they can we can expect NFTs to spill over to physical assets, also to this digital connection with the physical assets with digital connection. So here's one article on, here are the 10 most expensive NFT artworks from Beeple's $69 million, all pushed to an 18-year-old's $500,000 Vampire Queen. So the issue that is raised here regarding NFTs is that it's a novelty. So they are, this is a this is an innovation that comes from FinTech. But the issue that is raised here regards the speculation, a possible financial speculation with art, and the issue of whether NFTs are leading to a bubble associated with the art market is a one point. The Rarible platform trades on these NFT-based digital assets. Is one example. Here you have CryptoVoxels and CryptoVoxels location, where you have that billboard that says Rarible is the first community-owned NFT marketplace. So you have here a marketplace for NFTs, and the issue. And we consider this issue from the economic side and the financial side, from the art market, and this works for music, for any kind of art. But we need to consider also that FinTech is highly enabler of other types of innovations. We saw that already with CryptoVoxels, of new forms of artistic interaction and artistic expression. We can see that also in a new art movement, which is the asynchronous art movement. We'll see this, which we'll see this now. So we have the possibility of the crypto art which is FinTech supported, which is linked to the NFTs and to all this blockchain-based revolution, has led to the empowering of platforms and virtual reality. For instance, the VR crypto voxels can be considered is a platform with so we have here platform linked to other platforms, other websites where you can buy and sell art. So this platform-based power is empowering also for innovation. It fosters innovation in terms of artistic expression. We already saw that, but we are seeing this at a new level, which is the collaborative crypto art, which is platform enabled, and the possibility of a tokenized collective artwork. So this news, for instance, which is from 2020, says that a group of 13 crypto artists with a passion for blockchain-powered digital creations. So you have here FinTech supported digital creations, this blockchain revolution that came from FinTech, from financial technologies, enabling now artistic creation. So what they have here, the blockchain-powered digital creations have made something that adds a completely new dimension to collaborative art. The painting has different layers. It's a digital painting with different layers, each made by an individual artist and tokenized on the blockchain. The owner of these tokens can alter them, resulting in an ever-changing masterpiece of digital art. So art that is an artwork, a work of art that is permanently changing. So this led to the asynchronous art movement. The Async art, there's the website for this art movement. And what is Async art? Async art is a new art movement built on the blockchain that allows people to create, collect, and trade programmable art. So now we have programmable art. Digital paintings split into layers, which you can use to affect the overall image. Art that can evolve over time, react to its owners, or follow a stock price is now all possible with programmable art. So this is a new level, a new stage for digital art, programmable art. We have also the Async art website has the paintings, the site, so the digital paintings site. It also has the asynchronous music, the Async music website. So this is a platform that has both the digital works in terms of pictures, paintings, so on. We also have the Async music platform. The two are you can link one and the other at the Async art website. What is Async music? This is music with the ability to change its composition. It may sound different each time you come back to listen. This is achieved by breaking down a song into separate layers called stems, and each stem has multiple variants for its new owner to choose from. In this way, a single Async music art contains many unique combinations of sounds. So you have here the Async art model is such that each time you look at it, it is different. Each time you listen to it, it is different. Each time you interact with it, it is different. It is personalizable. It becomes dynamical. The work of art is in permanent change. It is never finished. The work of art becomes a living expression of a collective that keeps the work alive, changing it, sharing it, buying it, and selling it. So, of course, the work of art then, this leads to an issue, because digital art with the synchronous art model or Async art, digital art is diverging from the model of a finished work of art. The development of digital art platforms, the use, all this, and we can expect integration of machine learning here, of an AI optimization, adaptation, and the personalization of a relation with a work of art. So the idea of, okay, that is the finished work, and this has that value, this has that interpretation, all the narratives that we can build around a finished work of art. All these changes here in an asynchronous art. With asynchronous art, and the development of these digital art platforms, the possibility of using machine learning tools for pattern modification and this collective async art model, along with the integration with FinTech, is transforming the field of digital art from a model of a single finished piece into a model of a dynamical pattern that is permanently changing and that we can interact with in a multimedia virtual experience and even modify, making the work of art a permanently changing collective result. So this is a revolution in how we look at it, because we have then what is, how can we interpret that work of art, a work of art, if it's permanently changing? What narratives can we build around that work of art if it's permanently changing? What statical order does that work of art express? What message does that work of art convey if it is permanently changing? Here we have to look, and here the first part of this webinar already addresses this, and we'll return to that point visually next. But we saw when we dealt with deep learning applied to digital art linked to the deep dream technology, we saw that we had a seed pattern that was transformed using a transformative pattern. So that's how the deep learning technology worked. And here in the synchronous art, we also have this point. So there's a seed pattern order. This, if you want, there's the initial pattern that starts to change as it is uploaded to one of these platforms, where it can be changed through different layers. So we have this layering base for interaction and change. But we can also have, with AI, the possibility of adding motion and different responses personalized to each user. But that's next level in asynchronous art, which is the AI integration, the artificial intelligence integration. And the ability to program changing layers, the dynamical layers that lead to this personalization. But let's look at this point. So we have a seed pattern order, which becomes a matrix producer of patterns. So that seed order survives dynamically throughout the change. We need to look at this seed order. It remains dynamically throughout the change as presence that remains in the change. So the diversity depends upon a unity of pattern that is determined by the seed as condition of possibility for all creative changes. And the narratives around the work of art, the interpretation of a work of art, an attempt to find what messages does that work of art that keeps changing conveys, that must be found in this unity of pattern that is determined by this seed as condition of possibility for all creative changes. And here we have Heraclitus conjecture, the idea of truth persisting and governing through the permanent change of all things. That is an order and proportion that the logos expressed and that constituted a universal explicative pattern accessible to all, and that because of that should be consensually interpreted. So the interpretation of the work needs to be made from the persisting order throughout the change, unity, and diversity. So when looking at technology and art, the possibility of works of art that are integrated into virtual worlds with incorporated artificial intelligence, works that have different expressions for each person, depending on the person's own interaction with the work, to the point where this interaction with the work becomes a fluid, adaptive, personal experience in a virtual, immersive reality, can ultimately transform the work of art into a personalized or personalizable digital performance. So to interact with the work is to enact a scene where the experiencing of the work changes the work itself, but keeping the original unity of pattern as condition of possibility for all the changes. But this introduces an interesting point, because at this point, if we in this dynamical asynchronous art model, what we have is that each work of art becomes the interaction of with the work of art becomes a performative art. So we have here performance art associated, for instance, with a digital painting, where the painting can change, and with incorporated AI can change its behavior depending on the user, and the user it's on the viewer, or on the owner, and the owner itself can change it. So this introduces a performance art into into different artistic domains, from digital paintings to the GIFs to all this. We are leading to this even to virtual reality, where you have that picture, but then if you interact with it, it changes its behavior, and it can change this behavior in a personalized way if AI is incorporated in it. Machine learning that can be incorporated into the platform and change, and each viewer will have a personalized experience that depends on that viewer's reaction and interaction patterns within that virtual world, much like it happens with the recommendation engines and with for instance YouTube and so on. So we now have this main point. So to interact with the work is to enact a scene where the experiencing of the work changes the work itself. So you have here a digital performance. But what remains here, there's one point here, which is the original unity of pattern as conditional a condition of possibility for all the changes, and the narratives, the interpretation, the truth of the artwork needs to be found here in this relational dynamics with the with the artwork, with this artwork that keeps changing. But there's this original unity of pattern, which is fundamental. It's as a basis, as a persisting order throughout the change. So this is one point, and we can see this exemplify this specifically using the deep dream technology. For instance, we saw in the previous part of in the first part of this webinar the transformation of a picture. This is not a digital picture. This was taken with the camera, and there's from northern Portugal, from Minho, and it created this. I used a fractal-based pattern to create this digital piece, which used Deep Dream to transform this picture. Now, if we let's look at. So we have the same picture, and here here was the first fractal form that I used. Here is another style, so another transformative pattern, but for the same picture. Here is another one, and here is another one. Different styles, but the same original picture. So the original non-digital photo, which was digitized in order to be worked, it was scanned using a scanner to the computer, uploaded and transformed using deep dream technology. So the seed pattern order was that original picture. It was the original picture scanned to the computer. So the digitization of that picture, which we saw in the previous slide. And now we have all these transformations, but we can see that there is an overarching topology here, a topological organization of and disposition of different regions in this work, that in the original picture, that is conserved throughout these various transformations. So you have one tree here that appears here, that appears here, and that appears here. It appears in each transformation. We have the other tree here that appears here, that appears here, and that appears here on the right, another transformation. So the left tree, the right tree, the pole, the electricity pole is present in all these these alternative transformations using deep dream. So different deep dream versions of the same picture, and even that defect, that small imperfection in the, which was a point in the original photo, is present in each of these pictures. So we see it here at the center, as a sphere, a spherical type structure with a circle around it, much like here, but here is more like a dot. Here is like a sphere. It's on the same plane. We see it here, more like one of those UFO pictures. It wasn't a UFO, by the way. It's really a defect in the original picture. And we have here more like a sphere, and here we have it seen like a dash, but different transformations. But we have the same basic original order that determines all this. So it's present here, present here. The pattern is always captured here, 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 and here in the four works. Let's continue. Let's see also, let's see an example of how the original seed order is fundamental throughout the changes that we can make. So this is a piece that I called Apocalypse. You have here in the higher planes, there's less crowding inside these spheres. There are two pentagrams, one pointing upwards, which represents positive forces, and an upside down pentagram, which represents negative forces. The upside down is reddish. The one pointing upward has here a mixture of silvery or metal-like look to it. You have here on the lower planes, there is some landscape here present inside the spheres, but the main crowded spheres, but in the lower planes and in the upper planes, you have mostly the crowding of patterns, which includes people like structures and other. There are some faces here, amalgamations of faces, and they are outside the spheres. They are concentrated outside the spheres. It's in the middle planes where we get already where we get outside crowding, but also inside structures in these dimensions. So these look like dimensions where you have here structures, geometric structures that in the distance resemble a landscape, and that there would be it represents people there, landscapes, and so on. And these dark spheres, which represent the negative forces, here is not very crowded, but here is more crowded with some landscape. But it's in this middle plane where the struggle takes place in a stronger sense. So this is the apocalypse piece. The apocalypse piece actually was produced in the following way. So I initially made this geometric piece. So this is the seed order. This is the seed order for all for the whole transformation that determines the final piece. This seed order contained symbolically, you have the pentagram pointing upwards, and the white spheres represent the positive forces. The inverted pentagram, which is which was represented in red, linking to red spheres, represented the negative forces. This was the seed order, and this is a deep trim of a deep trim. So you have here you can see here the movement from one piece to another, where we progressively change using AI, transform what is an original seed order. The first transformation was made using this geometric figure, this basic geometric figure, and using Bosch's The Last Judgment. So you have here Bosch's The Last Judgment by Bosch, and you use it as a style to transform that as a transformative pattern to make the first transformation of the pentagram. And this was the first transformation. So we have the input was changed to this one. But this already created the seed order for the next level. So, but the first seed order is present throughout all the transformations. As you can see, it's present here and it's present here. It conditions the first transformation, but there's a new seed for the next generation, which is the final piece. But this work here, which comes from using the first geometric pattern transformed by Bosch's Last Judgment, it will work as the new seed for the next work, which uses then so the seed for the final work is this one, is the transformed piece. So we have a deep trim of a deep trim, and here we use Michelangelo's Last Judgment for the final piece, transforming this one using as a seed, was transformed using then Michelangelo's last Judgment. But let's look at the first transformation, the first level. On the first level, we already have here the basic point. The main, these main spheres, the upper sphere is completely, is more or less homogeneous. There's a few differences in shading, but the higher sphere remained more or less pure, without great pattern inside it. These upper spheres, we have the same. They are almost black. So the red spheres became here almost black, and their redness spilled over to their vicinity. On their vicinity, we have some patterns that were added here by the AI. So the AI did not process any pattern inside these spheres, but it added it to the neighborhood of these spheres. So there's this topological organization of patterns that's produced by the AI. Here in the middle, interestingly, it's in the middle level where you have here also the patterns by in the original work by Bosch. We have here the patterns were pushed inside, not to the outside of the spheres, but to inside the spheres, mainly in these middle spheres, which are on the positive pentagram, where we get the pattern inside them. So the pattern was mostly inside them and not in the outside. In these lower spheres, in these middle spheres, but on the negative pentagram that are at the points, the edge that are here at this edge and this of the negative pentagram. What we have here is that there are some light points here, inside and here. More visible here. There are shadings here in this red. Less so here. And the lower pentagram, in the lower sphere, we have here some points that are lighter in color, also inside the pentagram, inside the sphere. But on the edges is where we get most patterns. So we get most pattern here on the edges. What happens when we go to the next level is that these points of light here inside this sphere became seeds for the new order which was produced. So using this style, which is Michelangelo's Last Judgment, these points of light became sources for additional pattern. And where we have this crowding of pattern already produced by the first transformation using Bosch's Last Judgment, so this sphere that gets lots of pattern inside it and here became much more defined, and here and here using Michelangelo's Last Judgment. And the regions outside the sphere that got the spheres that got most pattern, those regions became much more crowded in terms of more defined patterns. What we see here, interestingly, is that these points of light at the lower sphere, the lower black sphere, which were red on the original work, is that those points of light became source seeds for new pattern, localized patterns. So there's this topological dynamics for pattern to surface throughout the transformations of the subsequent transformations of a deep dream. At the middle of the pentagram, we also see that here we had some shading, but with Michelangelo's, when we worked this one as a seed order for the next transformation, it produced here also pattern inside the pentagram. So we have here at the center of the pentagram. So here is the final how you can have a deep dream of a deep dream, and the sequence from seed to subsequent transformation. So the seed always remains there. The seed always remains throughout the changes. Here is another example where we have a deep dream of a deep dream. Again, we use one of the panels from Bosch's Garden of Earthly Delights, and use the same picture of the same photo of the north of Minho taken, and we saw the different variations. And here we have a new variation, but again we get the trees, the path, all those the topological organization remains, and the main patterns remain. And we have here again that center defect that was processed as a sphere, as a point, another point with a circle of pattern around it, and here as a dash. Also, that there was this light source here that was processed here also. So we have here the first transformation. With making a second transformation, we can add the traditional deep dream and add animistic alike shapes within to the landscape. So what happened here was that in the first edition of pattern, what was a clear sky became a cloudy sky, and adding a second layer and then transforming this as a seed order for the classical deep dream transformation. What we get is the same, those chimeras that were embedded into the clouds, that are embedded also into the landscape. For instance, this tree gets a snout, and there's this mammal-like structure here. There's this dragon-like shape on the right side, immersed with the cloud. So we have these different different shapes here. There's an animism which is added to the look of the work. But we have the same basic original seed order interfacing with each of these works. So this ends our webinar. Hope that you liked it, and let's finish.